Well, hello there, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to use the term to agonize over. Okay, so to agonize over something is when you've got a really difficult decision to make, and there might be a lot of soul searching going on, and there might be some element of a gut instinct, involved, but really you have to think very carefully about the implications either for yourself, your business, your family, your weight, your fitness, whatever. Okay, so really the meaning is to really apply a lot of thought to a decision or approach. Okay, so to give you an example, a client of mine said recently that she had been agonizing over whether to apply for microfunding or not. So she's a small business. She doesn't really need a lot of money. She doesn't want to go to the bank and go through the whole procedure that she would do just the same as if she was going to get 50,000 euros. She only needs 6,000 or 7,000 euros. So I told her about Goldrausch, who do microfunding for women here in Berlin. And so she's been thinking about that, and she was telling me about this decision-making thing. So she had been agonizing over whether to apply for this microfunding or not, because with this money she'd be able to afford a little van to do her thing in, and she'd be able to get it all kitted out with the gear that she needs and everything, but there's something pulling at her heartstrings, not quite letting her move ahead. So really you need to understand your customers or clients inside and out, really, before you do something. So I have been agonizing over doing a retreat in the UK. So the idea would be that we would come together and we would go to Ascot. And the great thing about that is that we get to get dressed up and we'd get lovely hats, and it would be very glamorous and very lovely, but it would be quite expensive, and but it would be quite an amazing experience. I was going to get somebody to come and give us a talk about marketing or something like that, and the background of Ascot and things. It's going to be a really cool thing, but I'm agonizing over how to finance this, because I'd have to pay for all the flights up front and the hotel and everything else. And so in order to be able to do that, I need to get some money in first. So yeah, so that's what I've been agonizing over myself recently. One other thing that you might agonize over, say, is if your business is going really quite well, but you feel like you've got more time, you've got more money than time, or maybe the money isn't coming in yet, but you're still totally busy and you're starting to snap at the children, or whatever it is, and you're feeling overwhelmed, then maybe it's time to invest in a virtual assistant. Okay, so maybe it's time to invest in a virtual assistant, and it's a good way of keeping your fixed overheads down and keeping you flexible, so that if it's just a temporary thing, like a project, a launch or something like that, then you don't have to keep them on afterwards. Okay, same thing with working with freelancers, isn't it? So if you've been racking your brains about how to do something, that means you've been really trying to work out like something more detailed, like exactly how am I going to do it. Yeah, you might know what to do, but when you're racking your brains about something, it's normally about the finer details of how you're going to do it. So one other thing we talk about is, in the UK, we say, oh, I had a brainwave, which is a really, really good idea. They don't use that in America because they thought I was very strange when I said that. So a brainwave is a really good idea. And another way of saying to agonize over, if you didn't want to use a phrasal verb, is to contemplate. Okay, now what I would like you to do is, it's all very good me telling you this stuff, but the real source is when you try and use this in a sentence, and then we can see the structures on either side of the words agonize over. You might want to use contemplate as well, and I want you to use those in the Facebook page, which is Professional English for Women. Just go in there, you'll see this post, and give me a few sentences. Let me give you some language feedback. And if you don't want me to give you public language feedback, if you feel a bit embarrassed about that, then you can always put language feedback private in brackets and I'll get back to you personally. It's a bit of a shame then for the other people because they don't get to learn from your mistake. And they can't see. I'd have to just write this is wrong, but it's been private feedback, and so it's better if I do it publicly. But if you really can't bear to be criticised in public, then just write that in brackets after your comment. So that's how it works. So don't agonise over it. Go over to the Facebook page, Professional English for Women, and give me a sentence right now about what you're agonising over, or what you have agonised over, what you will be agonising over, what your children agonise over. Come and give me a few sample sentences and I'll give you some language feedback. Take care now. It's Corinne Wilhelm from Bite Sized English.